So here's some do's for warm up. Send to people who are most likely to engage positively first. Who might those people be? And how do we know they love us? They paid us money. That's why I'm saying we're going to send to clients. So people who've paid us money, I mean, they've sort of shown with their dollars they're trading, right, for the value, that they love us the most. How many of you have paid me money? All of you, right? I mean, you're here. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll send y'all an email, and I'm pretty sure you'll open it. You're not gonna be like, why is Kristen sending me an email? I don't want this crap. You'll be like, oh, what does Kristen have to say? What's going on here? So people who are most likely to engage first are usually going to be people that are paying you money right now. Maybe they're on a month-to-month or they're in a current program. And then the second list of people we would send to are the people that have paid you money in the past. Maybe they went through your program and they're done now. We obviously want to take out the ones who maybe you kicked out of the program, or they did a chargeback, or they had a bad experience or something. They're probably not going to be the best openers for you, or non-complainers. So we want to be thinking about that. But we're going to send to the people who've paid us money, who are currently paying us money first, current clients. Then the next batch would be the people that have paid us in the past. And we're going to start really slow. We're going to go with 100 emails on day one. Now, if you have a list of current clients and you only have 27 of them, it's okay. We can send to all 27 of those. And then for the other 73, I'm doing math, we would just dip into the prior people that have paid you money in the past. So it would be 2 different emails, but it would still equate 100 emails on day one. We're trying to do 100 so we get a good enough sample size to know that this is working or not, or how it's working. But we don't want to get up so high that Google rates us off that first email. And a note about this real quick, if I'm sending 100 emails on day one, there's no need to use a warm-up service. Warm-up services typically go to like 30 or 40 people a day, 30 or 40 sends a day. So it's complete waste of time and energy to warm up to something that you can do way past that on day one anyway. And then you're going to increase your send volume conservatively by about 25% a day. That's going to be the standard recommendation. If you're my client, we're going to double it every day. I'm very aggressive in the way that we do warm-ups with clients. I don't like this 25% thing, but it's because I've done it a lot. Our team does this all the stinking time. We were doing it the first morning we were here, all the way up until the minute I started talking with you. We were actually doing a warm-up. I had Tanya up here. You might have seen her pressing buttons on my computer and us talking, because we were warming up one of Dan Henry's subdomains right before we started talking with you. We do it all the time. And we can double every day because we're so careful about watching the right foot. Not just the math, but what's the engagement. When you're thinking about what you're going to send for a warm-up, make sure that you're making it personal. This is not a sales email. This is you reaching out to people who are paying you money or who have paid you money in the past. So just like Rob talked about in his session, he was talking about making it conversational. It's not a sales letter. It's not a marketing ploy. It's not something where you're going to hand somebody a landing page and ask them to fill out an order form or anything like that. It's just a personal kind of an email. The reply is the call to action that we're after. This can be a gotcha if you're not prepared for it. We've helped people do this many times where they either were not prepared for the number of replies they're going to get, or they were worried about the kind of replies that they were going to get. That's something we have to kind of like take into consideration before we start sending. As these replies come in, who is going to be monitoring those? Who's going to be managing replying back to those? Because we certainly don't want replies coming in and then they just go nowhere. Like, people need to be responded to. And then consider the psychology of the open. So going back to that previous lesson, it's the subject line and the first couple lines of copy. We talked about the behavioral aspects and all that markety stuff, the markety bucket. So the subject line and the first couple lines of copy are important. Remember, when you send an email, they can only see basically up to 4 things before they choose to open it. They can see who it's from, like your from name, and in certain tools, they can see your from address. And then they can see the subject line, or at least part of it, until it cuts off and just goes ... And then they can see basically what would be the first couple lines of copy, which depending on how you write your emails and in what tool, that could be a preview, or it could literally be the first couple lines of copy. But whatever it is, it shows up on a notification, like on their mobile device. And so they have certain information before they choose to click open on that email. So this is prime real estate. When we write these messages, we're going to do it in a SPEAR message format. SPEAR stands for short, personal, expecting a response. Hopefully that's starting to make sense to you, because we just talked about how we're going to write a nice personal email, and our call to action is a reply. It's expecting a response. The subject line might be something like, hey, just checking in, or hoping you can help. There's psychology in both of those. The first part of the email, there's 3 parts. So the first part of the email is going to be the context. Why am I writing you an email at all? Why is this showing up in my account right now? Like, I need to understand why this is even happening. The second part is a specific reason for this email. So there's context for why you're emailing them at all, and then we get a little bit more specific, and we help them understand why we're writing this email. What's the specific reason for this email? And then we move on to the reply, which is the call to action. It's a simple, easy to answer question. A very simple, easy to answer question. These are generally 3 to 5 sentences. If you're going over 5 sentences, we're doing this wrong. Because you're reaching out to people who are paying you money currently or have paid you money in the past. These are people that know you. It's not a sales letter. It's not a link fest. It's just a check-in, or hey, I'm hoping you can help with something. So here's an example. This is the context, specific reason, call to action, which is a reply, simple, easy to answer question. This is not the actual email example, but what I want you to see is that there are different ways to ask that question. So there's different kinds of questions that you can ask at the end of the email, and one of them might be what's called a one-thing question. What's the one thing you wish we taught in the course that would help you the most? What's the one thing that you wish we'd covered in that program that would have helped you the most? So you can see how one's present tense, one's past tense, because you might be talking to current clients, but you might also be talking to past clients. You can write the same email for both groups and just make one of them past tense. What's the one thing about the course that you struggle with the most? The reason we're wording it like this, the reason we're saying what's the one thing, is because we're kind of putting the bumper rails up on the bowling alley, because we don't want anybody veering off into the gutter. We certainly don't want it skipping over into the other lane. We're just trying to make it really easy, simple, easy to answer question. What's the one thing? Have you ever been in a group? Oh, well, hey, if I just ask you guys right now, I mean, y'all know we're going to dinner tonight, but if I just ask you right now, we're just in a group, we've been at the beach all day or something, and now we're starting to get hungry, and I say, hey, it's getting time to eat, man. Where do you guys want to go eat? What happens in those conversations? Right? A lot of people can't even think of anything because they don't know what they want. They know what they don't want. So if you're the poor sucker that says, hey, what about that sushi restaurant over on 3rd Street that's pretty new? Stand back, because everybody in the group is going to have an opinion about that, especially if they don't like it. Or they just ate there, last week and they don't want to eat it again so soon. There's no shortage of people saying, oh, I don't want to go there. But there's definitely a shortage in those conversations of people saying what they want, because people don't know what they want. They know what they don't want. People don't know what they like. They know what they don't like. Hence, reviews. It's so easy for somebody to write a negative review. It's hard for somebody to actually take a moment and write something positive. It's sad, but it's true. It's human psychology. It just is. And so you'll notice these questions. What's the one thing you wish we taught? What's the one thing? It's a negative side. It's the thing we're not doing that you want us to do. What's the one thing about the course you struggle with? Notice it's not what's the one thing you love most about the program. Now, people will write back to that all day long, and they'll tell you the things they love. They'll say, oh man, I'm not struggling at all. This is the best freaking program I've ever been in. They'll still answer that question. Or they might say, actually, the program's been really great. The only thing I think I would say that could possibly be changed is X. So you get a lot of really good feedback about that. We have clients who have said, I don't want to send this because I'm afraid we're going to get back a bunch of negative stuff. And I'm like, don't you want to know? This is a good thing. We should do this more often. Yeah. The second kind of question is a how are things since question. How are you doing with X since you took that course? So this would be good, like to past clients. How has the information in the course changed your practice? This was for a medical provider. We have a medical provider client. She's actually speaking at Funnel Hacking Live next month. I forgot what date it was, but yeah, next month. They help doctors learn how to do certain things better, like techniques and stuff. This is a great question. All these doctors, they buy these courses. It's not a coaching program. It's not anything. It's just courses. They go to webinars, they buy a course. They see another webinar, they buy the next course, or maybe they just ask for the next course. So it's all courses. How has the information in the course changed your practice? Not quite positive or negative, but it's still a good type of a question. And then you'll notice the signature down here, pretty boring. Actually, if it was a current client, it would just be my name. I might even sign a Huck now because everybody seems to be calling me that. Ever since I started the I'll be your Huckleberry thing that I've been doing, I have people that just write me and say, hey, Huck, and then they ask me their question or whatever. So I might just sign it like Kristen if it's current clients. If it's past clients, depending on how past they are, I might say Kristen, email to inbox. I might not. There's no calendar link. There's no website link. There's no fancy anything in here. There's no links at all, actually. There's no call to action other than, hey, just, love to hear your thoughts on that. I'm just starting a conversation. If it's with current clients, it's awesome because I want all of my current clients to feel like we are there for them and that they matter. That's important to us. If it's a past client, I still want them to feel like they matter and that we're there for them. So sometimes I'll write this email in a different way, and I might do it past tense and just say, by the way, if you have a question, feel free to just send it. You can answer my question, but if you have a question, you can also ask it. I give them permission because a lot of people will, like if it's a past client, they'll answer the question and then they'll ask a question. I want them to, they've been meaning to talk to me about something, or they wanted to ask me if we had some resource that they needed, or if we're starting to do X in our program because we weren't doing it before. So we get those kinds of questions. All of those are conversational. All of those conversations are started with something like this, and this can turn into repeat business for you. That's not the goal of the warm-up. The goal of the warm-up is what? Highest opens, lowest bounces and complaints, so that I can get the highest possible domain reputation right out of the gates. If I get replies out of it, that's a bonus. That is not one of the numbers I told you to track, though, remember? I said opens, bounces, complaints, and the postmaster stuff. But here I am telling you, write these emails so there's a simple, easy to answer question at the end, but we're not tracking reply rates. Don't worry about it. Don't be concerned about it. It does not matter. Just get back to people who write you and support them and nurture them and make sure that they feel taken care of. Here is an example of one of the emails. I'll show you two. So this is a just checking in. It says, hey, contact first name. Hey, Sally, just wanted to let you know how much I love having you in the program. Now, we just talked about real estate, subject line, first couple lines of copy. Guess what they're going to see before they open the email? Just checking in. Love having you in the program. Why would somebody not open that email? They're going to open it. And I love having them in the program. Todd, I love having you in the program. I'm going to send you this email, okay? Okay. And then it says, I don't take that lightly, that you put your trust in me. This is my email, by the way. I have sent this out to people. I know we have our team chat channel because we use Slack, but I also wanted to personally reach out and see how you're doing in the program. The word personally is here by design, because some people are working a lot with Tanya, for instance. Tanya is a fantastic member of our team who takes care of people, and she's often answering a lot of Slack questions, or she's hopping on calls with people to help them learn how to do something or walk them through a process. And so a lot of times they're interacting with Tanya, maybe even more than me, because I'm on coaching calls. I'm on those, but during the day-to-day stuff, Tanya's getting back with people all the time. Tanya's the one that sends them the summary of what we're just talked about and what we're going to be working on next. So I'm personally reaching out to see how they're doing in the program. I don't want to lose touch with people either. What's the one thing I can help you with over the next week or so that would make the biggest difference? Lay it on me, because that's how I talk. I have weird terminology for stuff. First name, I wouldn't put the company. It would just be like, lay it on me, Huck or Kristen.